Hello and welcome to How's That? We are in the second half of the IPL at this point of time. Kings XI Punjab managed to secure a last ball victory over one of its favorite rivals, I must say, this season, Royal Challengers Bangalore, scoring its second successive win. Even though it started as the underdog, Kings XI Punjab hung in there and secured that victory of the last ball. Good morning, Vijay. It's nice to have you with me one more time.
Yeah, good morning. And yes, Kings XI Punjab hung in there only. Because at one point, I mean, they made such a mess of this chase. They should have won it comfortably. And just imagine, they're winning by 8 wickets off the last ball.
I think they would have been pleased to secure a second win. It was almost like they had forgotten how to win, Vijay. And to have come back from that position and scored a very, very narrow win, even though 8 wickets looked very comfortable. It was of the last ball, and that final over would have given them a lot of stress. We could see Anil Kumble being very stressed till the last ball. And when Nicholas Pooran walked in and hit that 6 of the first ball, there was some grim reminders for some of us who were in Sharjah back in 1986. But Anil Kumble and company would have been very relieved last night.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was, they can go back home with very fond memories of this win of the last ball. But who was responsible? I mean, Kings XI Punjab themselves, they put themselves in this position. What should have been a cakewalk ended up with such a pulsating finish. I mean, at one point I thought the match was gone because the way things were happening. But finally, yes, Kings XI deserved to win, and they wrapped up a good game.
Vijay, we shall get to the Kings XI batting. Chris Gayle was back and he got a half century. Skipper KL Rahul continued his good vein of form. Mayank Agarwal gave them the blistering start. Obviously, everything worked well for them. The bowlers did a terrific job. But there were a couple of decisions that we should discuss first before we get into what Kings XI did right. I'm speaking here of two decisions that Virat Kohli made as captain. First was when he did not let AB de Villiers bat higher than Washington Sundar and Shivam Dube. It was mysterious. AB de Villiers had just scored a blistering 50 in the last game for Royal Challengers Bangalore in Sharjah. And to see two left-handers walk in ahead of him was quite mystifying. And then in the second innings, when they were defending only 172, we got to see Washington Sundar bowl well after power play. This was another mystifying decision. It was almost like Royal Challengers Bangalore was experimenting yesterday because they're in a very comfortable position in the table. They could dare to experiment, but I think these experiments made them pay a big price last night.
The experiment almost clicked. I mean, if you look at it, we would have been looking at it very differently, and there is nothing wrong because at this point you can try out a few combinations, permutations if you think, because to me de Villiers, he can bat at any position. He can, he's probably being they're looking at de Villiers for the second half of the tournament and to bat in the second half of the innings because he can't be imposed. You can't impose any restriction on de Villiers. And as far as Washington Sundar is concerned, once again, I think it was an experiment. They would like him to, maybe in coming matches, we might see him bowling 2 overs in the power play and then hold him back and then bring him back when the ball is a little old and there's more wear and tear in the pitch. The second half pitches are going to be very slow and Washington Sundar will increasingly have a bigger role to play. So I think we should accept, let us hope that these were experiments and not the order of the day.
A lot of people have commented about these two decisions, Vijay. I believe some of the commentators during the broadcast also raised this issue. And of course, social media is full of this. But I would like to believe that Virat Kohli was giving the two young batsmen, Washington Sundar and Shivam Dube, a run. They have not had a good knock so far. And I believe that Virat Kohli was giving them the opportunity of getting into a tight match situation and experiencing it this season. Remember that they have all not been playing much cricket over the last 6 months. And I think it was important that everybody in the side, who is believed to be a batsman, who is believed to be able to score a few fast runs, is given that opportunity of playing in tight situations. And I think Washington Sundar and Shivam Dube will both only benefit from the experience last night.
I will back Virat for whatever he did last night because he was the man in charge. He is the man who will face the flag. He is the man who will absorb if the praise is coming his way. So he was in control. There is nothing wrong. This was not a do or die game for Royal Challengers Bangalore. It was not a do or die game. So if they have experimented, they know the consequences. They must have learned some lessons and give them 2 more games. You will see why these experiments were made.
Well, I also like to think, Vijay, that a lot of people just want to raise questions because these questions, of course, we must ask questions. There is no doubt about it. But we must see it in a clear perspective. My own feeling is that we like to look at everything in cricket with tinted glasses now. We begin to question every decision of a captain and start attributing motives. Last night, to me, it was very evident that Virat Kohli wanted his young batsmen the exposure. He wanted his faster bowlers to experience bowling in power play because Washington Sundar was doing a terrific job of that. So he knows that he's got a trump card up his sleeve, and why would he want to expose his trump card in every single game?
Much of what you said, Radharaman, is I will accept, very well argued and very well presented. But tell me something. You have Simon Katich, you have AB de Villiers, and you have Virat. 3 very thinking brains. They have spent so much time playing international cricket, right? And they have thought of something. They have planned something, looking at the strength of the team, and they would have loved to surprise the opposition. They almost did. I mean, if you look at it, they had a good total to defend. Credit to Kings 11 Punjab for pulling it off. But let us accept the fact that these 3 cricketing brains had something up their sleeve which maybe didn't work in this game. Let us wait for a couple of games before we bring out the knives.
I got to read a couple of tweets from very eminent people, best not named here, about how Murugan Ashwin and Ravi Bishnoi can strut around because AB de Villiers was hiding from them. I don't think AB de Villiers needs to fear any bowler. I don't think RCB was protecting him. They wanted a left-right combination. They've had it almost throughout the innings. And I'm sure they were experimenting yesterday. And like you said, Vijay, the experiment did not come off. I think they got close to it with Shivam Dube striking those 2 big blows. But surprisingly, Vijay, Virat Kohli was the one batsman who was not able to get going on that slow track. He challenged the best of batsmen, and Virat Kohli was quite challenged last night, even though he played a very, very good knock in the end.
See, I think RCB fans should be happy that Virat is not scoring runs here. He must have kept his runs for the later stage. If he does well in the playoffs, RCB is going home with the title. And I'm very sorry to say that if somebody is beginning to doubt AB de Villiers' credentials against a particular bowler or 2 bowlers, I mean, look at him. He doesn't even practice. He just gets out of his bed, comes to the crease, takes guard and starts hammering the bowlers. So I think they're not being fair. Let us accept the fact that de Villiers is very, very essential to world cricket today, even though he is not playing for South Africa. And Rajaraman, I must tell you, there was a game, test match at Ferozshah Kotla where you were there. We saw him back. We saw him block. So it's not that you can find faults with his technique or approach to a particular bowler. And I will not make that mistake by doubting de Villiers' credentials against a particular bowler.
Let us watch Chris Morris come in and defend Virat Kohli's decision of not letting AB de Villiers bat higher up in the order?
I was probably with the spinners, left-right hand combination. It's quite difficult for a spinner or any bowler to settle when there's a left-right combination. We saw with KL and Gale at the end, it was quite difficult to keep consistent lines and lengths. But yeah, look, it was sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But in saying that, boys hit some good blows, so you know, not the worst thing in the world. I think they did bowl very well. Their spinners tied us up and their seamers tied us up nicely. So. Look, after the game, you can always say we should have done this, we should have did that. But you know, I think we had enough runs, and we possibly should have defended that. But like I said, a lot of positives. The sun will come up tomorrow, and we focus on the next game.
In fact, we must give credit to the Kings 11 Punjab bowlers for doing a terrific job under the circumstances. Bowling in Sharjah on a slow pitch, I think they hit the right length, and they were able to contain the batsmen from scoring freely.
Yeah, Rajaraman, if you remember. Ashwin, of course, he hasn't played much in the first half, but right through our show, we have been talking about Bishnoi. We have been talking about Kumble's influence on Bishnoi, and he's turning out to be a good bowler. He hasn't played a first-class season yet, so we will have to wait and watch how he performs in the longer version of the game. But here he has done justice to his talent. And it is not that he is unwanted or he looks out of place on this big platform.
I think he understood the nature of the track well. Let's watch what he had to say at the end of the game last night at the press conference.
Yeah, really happy that the ball was coming out well. I was watching the previous games which were being played on this wicket. I even watched the last game which RCB played and how their spinners bowl. I think they bowl really well. I took a cue out of their bowling spell, and I just wanted to hit the right lengths, hit the ball into the wicket. So I just wanted the ball to stick onto the wicket and try to turn it as much as possible quickly both ways with my googlies as well, to cause some kind of a doubt in the batsman's mind. Happy that I was able to do that. Happy I was able to get wickets in the middle and contribute to the team. The wicket was holding up a bit, but having said that, it's all about executing the length as well. It's about execution. If you miss your length, you might get hit for a 6, considering how small the ground is. You can bowl 5 good balls and one ball can get to a 6 and it can just mess up the over. It's about executing well, but yeah, it did have something for the spinners in it.
Vijay tells you how keen a student Murugan Ashwin is. He's watched a game from previous night, and he knows that you have to hit the deck. You just can't flight the ball and hope that it does something off the track. You have to hit the deck, and it tells you how good a student Murugan Ashwin is. And I think credit must be given also to Anil Kumble for being able to decipher what that track can offer a spin bowler, especially one who can hit the ball hard.
Yeah, you have said it. I mean, when you say he hit the deck, that is what Anil Kumble used to do. And he would bowl from various angles. And that is what I think Ashwin also was trying, exploring angles, which gives a more, I think, power and strength to the spinners if they experiment with their line, they experiment with the crease, and of course, try different angles, like for which Anil Kumble was very, very famous.
Let's talk now about the Kings 11 batsmen, Vijay. I thought they showed very good intent in chasing 172. Mayank Agarwal and KL Rahul, as always, doing a terrific job for the side. It was a brave decision to continue with their partnership, Vijay. With Chris Gayle in the side finally, it would have been very tempting to make one of them go down at number 3, perhaps Rahul himself. But it was a very brave decision to continue with the opening partnership of Rahul and Mayank Agarwal and have Chris Gayle batting at number 3.
Yeah, because see, they have been playing right through. So when you're faced with a target of 170 plus, it makes sense to have your regular openers, because Chris Gayle was out of practice. He hasn't played since January. And imagine if they had lost an early wicket. If Gayle had gone and lost an early wicket, you begin with the chase under such pressure. I can understand the wisdom behind these two going out, because they've been in form, and it was known that you had to have a good start. And that is what they did. Once they gave that good start, Gayle just walked in and demolished the bowling.
It was good to watch him bat himself in last night, Chris Gayle, and then open up with a flourish. The kind of sixes that he can hit. Uh, I think there is a lesson for a lot of youngsters who believe that they should go and start hitting from the first ball. Gayle played himself in. Of course, he had the luxury of a number of overs, but he played himself in before attempting those big shots. I think there is a very, very valuable lesson for younger batsmen who must have been watching this game with a lot of interest.
Yeah. Yes, but I would have wanted Gayle to finish the game. I mean, he got out, he got run out. Obviously, he wasn't really at his fitness was maybe will come under scrutiny. But he should have finished the game, having taken it that far, because you never leave it to the new batsman, and it almost they almost lost it. I mean, it could have gone into the super over. It needed a talent of Pooran to come out and finish the game.
So that run out, Vijay, I would squarely blame KL Rahul. Here is somebody who has been tracking the ball really well. Here is an Indian batsman who's taking on Yuzvendra Chahal. He's driven him to cover. He's driven him straight to the fielder and then set off for a single. You know very well that Chris Gayle is never going to make that crease.
Yeah, Chris Gayle is not the fastest of runner between the wickets because he only believes in boundaries, right? So you can't blame Gayle for that. And yeah, you're right. It should have struck Rahul, no doubt. But that was, I mean, he's a young man still trying to, in his early days of captaincy, the pressure is also there. And then he must have seen, okay, grab one run and get closer to the title, so to the target. So I think will let us excuse Rahul for this one error. But yeah, but he's been batting fabulously in this tournament.
As has Mayank Agarwal. I think
oh, yes.
both of them strike the ball so beautifully, Vijay, that it doesn't look like they're playing 2020 cricket. They're both test quality batsmen. They're both terrific runners between the wicket. And it was a great sight to watch them get that wonderful partnership that got them going during the chase.
Oh, yes. And I think their batting is based on the kind of pitches they get to play in Karnataka. I mean, when the ball comes on nicely, they're encouraged to play their shots. And they have developed into stroke players with a wide range of shots. I mean, you can't restrict them really. And they can be innovative also. Both of them are very innovative batsmen in the crease. It's great joy watching these two in action.
Vijay, I think we'll let the last word on Kings 11 be said by Sagar Valve, Northstand Gang Mumbai member, who has this question for us.
So, Kings 11 Punjab, I think they've played some decent cricket in the first half of the season. Their batters have found good form. Mayank, Rahul have been in the top run scorers. Shami is bowling very well. And Ravi Bishnoi is a young kid under pressure, but he's also coping well. So, but overall, they have not still found the right mix. With Gayle coming in, I think it has definitely helped them in this one game. But then what do you think should be their strategy or tactics going forward if they look to make it to the playoffs? So in terms of the playing 11 or Gayle opening again and Rahul going down the order to finish the innings or something like that, Maxwell coming slightly up. So what are the options they have if they have to make it to the playoffs?
Very good question, Sagar. And Radharaman, let me tell you that he's a doctor and he came to my rescue during the COVID times. He reached out to me and yeah, I mean, I needed a prescription badly and he was the one who gave me. So he's right. I mean, if he thinks Kings 11 has a chance, but it is a very, very difficult journey. They will have to obviously depend on Chris Gayle, who lends balance to the team now with this explosive batting. The form of Agarwal and KL Rahul is going to be very critical, and the bowling is in place. So it's very easy for me to say, but they can definitely qualify if they don't lose any match from here, which is going to be a very challenging task.
One thing I would want Kings 11 to do is ensure that Shami finishes off his 4 overs before the death. Last night, he conceded 25 runs to Chris Morris. And these things can sometimes hurt a good side. But he bowled brilliantly, picking up 2 very big wickets and then bouncing Virat Kohli and getting him to glove a catch to the wicketkeeper. It was terrific to watch Mohammad Shami bowl really well. But that last over of his is always going to hurt a team like Kings 11 Punjab if they don't bat really well.
Yes, Rajaraman, Shami is very crucial because he is a wicket-taking bowler, and you can't expect him to bowl a line to contain the batsman. And yes, it would be great if he goes through his quota in one go, and you don't keep him waiting, because if he bowls 2 overs, then again he has to warm up when he comes back for the last 2 overs, which is not his style. So if he's doing well at the top, let him finish his quota and put the team opposition under pressure from the beginning.
Talking about bowlers, Vijay, it's going to be interesting to see whether Kolkata Knight Riders play Sunil Narine tonight. They left him out of the last game after he was reported for suspect action. Will be really interesting to watch whether they get him back, even though he might not be the same bowler that he was in the earlier game. But KKR against Mumbai Indians should be another interesting game, Vijay.
It has to be an interesting game because they're playing against probably the most balanced team in the tournament. They have some of the best batsmen, beginning with Rohit Sharma, and then tackling Bumrah and Trent Bolt is not going to be easy. And for KKR, I think it will be crucial if Sunil Narine plays, bowls, but essentially he comes good with the bat, because that is where he has a big role.
Vijay, before I let you go, I must tell you and the viewers that Ajay Jadeja is keen on coming and having a conversation with us. I'm looking forward to that very much, Vijay, because he's one of the finest students of the game I have known in the last so many years.
Oh yes, and he was one of the few cricketers who would always stump me with some question. He would keep me guessing and test my cricket knowledge. So he is a wonderful cricketer to speak to.
He's somebody who asks questions, Vijay. He would love to ask journalists questions, and I'm looking forward to that session with Ajay Jadeja.
Yeah, sure. Same here.
On that note, Vijay, I'm going to take leave of you. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing what you know of cricket so intensely.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a very good day.